by business use cases. Like this is another use cases where I'm trying to use a video analytics concept to perform a number plate recognitions, which is an automatic number plate recognitions. So the current scenario where there is a security survey who is this with respect to video analytics, where the live CCTV feed will be there. And then we are trying to, and one more thing is that we are trying to run all this in edge itself. So the thing is that edge, in the sense, we use IoT devices like NVIDIA, especially for the AI, there is a specific hardwares are available. Jetson board are available. So where we try to deploy the AI applications onto that particular board, or you can deploy the solution into the cloud. Is that it will take a response time to the analysis frames, and you get back the response to your the client missions will be a little delayed. So you need to check the network connectivity. Before I thought, I just wanted to briefly give some of the highlights. What are the use case we are trying to solve? So now I go into detail of what is machine learning and deep learning with respect to image and video analytics. I just want to traditional approaches. Like if you look at here, in the traditional approaches, what we do, we write hundreds of thousand lines of instruction to the automation of running, and person is riding, biking, and the person is playing and golfing activity. So I will not have a single image like this. For the person is walking, I'll have hundreds or thousands of images. And then what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to convert this image, which is a 2D array. I'm trying to convert it into one vector representation. Okay. So these binary values, zeros and ones, these are the unique binary. What we are trying to extract for all these category, and then we are feeding this data to the machine learning approaches. So now the thing is that with respect to machine learning approaches, we'll be able to extract all these patterns for all this kind of data. But in the traditional approaches, where in case of when the person was playing an activity, so we are not able to extract the the speed rule. But in case of machine learning approaches, so we will provide two things with respect to machine learning approaches. One is the input data, which is the image, and the output is the which category it belongs to, whether the person is walking or person is running. But one more thing here, the features are extracted by the machine with respect to machine learning approaches. But in traditional approaches, basically we provide rule and the input, but the output will be predicted or extracted by the machine. But in machine learning approaches, the input and output will be given to the data to the machine extracting all these feature pattern. So advantage of the machine learning approaches is that we can use all kind of data to solve the specific business problem. So some of the use cases even we are trying to use for the ADAS systems, like autonomous driving systems, like we can we can identify. So here, if you look at here, when we are trying to use ADAS systems, like identify the traffic sign and identify the do the pixel level segmentation and detect the collision detections at what distance there is other vehicles. So there are a number of use cases are available with respect to ADAS systems. Like, and there is an Amazon GoPro technology where when you enter inside to the shop, there no, you need not to wait billing for the queue, right? So that was the technology initially they developed, but so they are keep improving the performance. So they use computer vision, video analytics, and sensor fusions to implement such a technology. Like there was a Google Lens actually earlier, where it can identify the n number of objects, where you can this was the shows the flower species to identify. So I'll show you some of the
Hello, Mahadevan sir.
Ma'am?
Hello, audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Audible, ma'am.
Speaker is not able to connect.
But I gave your voice, ma'am.
His voice is not coming, sir.
But I am giving my voice, ma'am.
Okay, sir.
Okay. I am giving your voice, ma'am.
Hello, presenter Mohan Raj sir. You check your audio, sir.
Mahadevan sir, we can't hear presenter's voice, sir.
Then you have to check the mic, ma'am. But I am getting all of your voice, ma'am. Your voice and madam voice, everything.
Okay, just a minute, sir. I will talk to Mohan.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
Wait.
Okay, ma'am.
Hello, Mohan Raj. Hello.
What going, ma'am?
Hello.
Hello.
Kindly bear with. Are you audible, sir? Mohan Raj sir. Hello. Hello. Participants, kindly bear with us. Some technical link failure, sir. Are you audible, sir? Mohan Raj sir. Hello. Hello. Participants, kindly bear with us. Some technical link failure, sir. Are you audible? Hello. Participants, kindly bear with us. Some technical link failure, sir. Are you audible? Hello, check. Participants, kindly bear with us. Mahadevan sir,
Yes, ma'am.
kindly ensure Mr. Mogan Raj is entering again.
Okay,
I
ma'am.
talked to him, he's rejoining.
Okay,
You make him
ma'am.
as a
Presenter.
presenter.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Participants, kindly bear with us. Some link issues in the presenter screen. Participants, kindly bear with us. He's joining back.
So due to network delay, I got dropped. So is that my voice audible? Can somebody confirm?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Voice is audible, sir.
Sorry, everyone.
Screen is.
Okay. So I've shared my
You can
screen.
proceed.
If it's visible, can...
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, visible, sir. You can start proceeding. Participants, thank you for patient bearing.
So what I'm trying to say, like here we have, before when you look at any sample images, like in this case where I'm showing about the apple fruits and iPhone. So basically, what happens? Our human brains, already trained with the n number of samples. Like when we look at some object, we say categorize. Our eyes looks capture something, and brains goes into our brains and categorize. Object is X or object is Y, and so our eyes, our brains looks at several features inside the object like color and texture and X, Y, Z, right? So in this case, when we represent the images to the machines, basically it is a 2D array, apple fruits and apple iPhone. So assume that we'll be storing a n number of matrices for the apple fruits and n number of images for the apple iPhone logo. So now assume that I have a 2D array. Which is an unknown data. We don't know whether it belongs to fruits or whether it belongs to an iPhone. So we have to ask machine has to categorize whether it belongs to which object. Okay. So what happens in a 2D array? If it is a color images where we'll have a 3 matrices, which means for each pixel we'll have a 3 value: red channel, green channel, and value. Pixel intensity values between 0 to 255. 0 represents the black and 255 represents the white color. So for each color images, each pixel value will have a 3 intensity value. Okay. So now assume that, for example, in this case, but if you compare these 2 matrices between the apple fruits and iPhone, so it is very difficult to identify, to understand the machine with the raw intensity, because these pixel intensities are not static. It will change with respect to several challenges like illumination and orientation. So I'll be discussing some of the challenges, especially with respect to image and video analytics. So this is the raw data, especially the raw. We should not feed the raw data directly to the machines for the learning of whether it belongs to object X or object Y. So that's what we call as a feature extraction technique or a feature engineering technique. So we usually convert the raw data into one vector representation. The vector shape might be n-dimensional vector. In this case, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to extract the color, texture, and shape. Basically, we can also go for an statistical features like no standard deviation, mean, skewness. So feature is nothing but it's an n-dimensional numerical value. Either it may be a color or shape, or maybe a texture, or a key point descriptor. So these are the of the features. These are the handcrafted features. Basically, these are the we say it's an handcrafted features. The reason for saying handcrafted feature is that which technique has to be applied on your data, which is defined by the user. Okay, we are saying that for this particular data, go for a texture. For example, I have a shirt pattern. I wanted to perform a shirt pattern classification, whether it's a plain pattern or whether it's a checked pattern or whether it's a striped one. Okay, in such cases where I'm going for a texture as a feature, color won't help to classify whether it's a plain or a texture or whether it's a checked one or striped one. So basically, these handcrafted features are application dependent. So we cannot use all features for all the applications. But in case of deep learning, where we can reuse the features which trained for some data, and you can reuse for some XYZ data sets. So that I'll talk about little later. So these are some of the feature computer vision handcrafted features. I'm not going to explain detail of what these features are. So I talked about the pixel intensity value, right? So when you go for an computer vision or video analytics, there are problems with respect to a complex background. So very difficult here to distinguish which is a foreground and which is a background. Okay. So the second challenge is that which is a Raspberry Pi board here, IoT devices. The thing is that when I talk about the video analytics, especially the camera, the position of the camera and the object, right? So orientations, if you try to take images in a different angle and the orientation, it looks little different, right? So we have a pictures of Raspberry Pi which captured on the different angle and the orientation. So how your machine or model is going to categorize, even if I feed my data to my model angle and the orientation, it should understand what image it belongs to or what category, and it has to predict or give a for it. Okay. So these are okay. These are common challenges with respect to image and video analytics. So the scale in the sense, I think that in a classroom environment, there are there's a camera which is kept over in the wall, which is near to the board, and the person who is sitting at the near to the the board, which will be the distance between the camera and the object. Okay. So for example, if I'm trying to take a camera pictures from my mobile selfie or something, the person who is to the selfie, for example, if you are taking a group selfie, right? The person who is taking a picture, his face region will look larger, right? The person who is a little far away from the the selfie in a group picture, the face regions of the smaller in the region, right? Though all the categories are person face images, but the distance plays a major role in this case. So if you look at here, which is where the images are images are represented in a different scale. So though it is the same coffee cup, due to the distance between the camera and the object, so it looks as a different images. So coming back to the next challenges, which is occlusion basically. So in this case, the one which on the right hand side where you have a fully visual object, but on the right hand side where we have a the partially visible object. So how your machine learning or deep learning algorithm is going to solve? Because when we give this data to the feature vector representation or feature engineering technique, so we'll not have 100% visual features, right? So because it's occluded, it's invisible. The partial objects are invisible. It's hidden with some other object, right? If you look at some of the public sector area like railway station or airport, so I wanted to build a person track, a person who is doing an case, I wanted to track him. There will be a number of persons who will be walking in front of him, or there will be object, a movable object, or it may be non-movable object, where you will be crossing a number of places, right? So how my model is going to track in such a scenario? So these are the common challenges. Coming back to the very important things, like I have shown some of the example of video analytics cases where my application has to run 24/7. Basically, what I'm trying to say in day scenario as well as the night. The environment model or algorithm should work on the 24/7. So if you try to the picture which shows on the left hand side, which taken on the proper classify irrespective of the illuminations, because when you try to take a pictures, the most important component is the lighting conditions or illuminations. Okay. So though it is the same cup, but one on the left hand side which looks brighter images, the one on the right hand left hand side brighter one, intensity value to 0 where in case of right hand side, but in the left hand side where most of the pixels are closer to white color, which is a 255. So now just quickly I'll come back to the machine learning approaches, which I wanted to talk about, supervised and unsupervised and semi-supervised machine learning. Even we say there is other category, reinforcement learning. So we say supervised machine learning. So you should have a question for your basic specification. Which machine learning approaches should I go, whether supervised or unsupervised? Okay. So if your data is the structured one, okay, I'll tell you what is your data is structured. For example, in this case, I'm trying to say I wanted to perform animal classification. So in this case, it belongs to dog images that will be by using an whether it's a structured or whether it's unstructured. So the label value we are saying it is a structured or not. Okay. So in this case, assume that I have a 6 images. It's unstructured. Okay. If your data set is not semi-structured, unstructured machine learning approaches, clustering or a DB scan algorithm, density-based clustering or a hierarchical clustering. So you can go for an same unsupervised machine learning when your data is not labeled properly. So I'll explain how does basically works in case of supervised and unsupervised with a simple basically what you can do when you have a larger data, if your data points as well as the blue data points should be equally distributed. But if your distance is very closer to blue red and far away from the blue, then there is a problem of a misclassification or your model may overfit. So these are the some of the machine learning approaches. Like so again, I wanted to go with the detail of some of the demo for another 15-20 minutes. Then let me know if somebody I'm running through the command line where I'm running through Anaconda prompt.
It's visible, sir. Okay, screen is visible.
So what I'm trying to do here, basically, I'm trying to use basically a facial landmark detector. Our intention is to identify the whether the person is sad. So first I have to the face RY. So the graph RY we convert it on vector representation and then we feed to the machine learning algorithm to categorize whether the person is happy or whether the person is sad. Can somebody confirm is my demo visible, the emotion?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're visible, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You are visible, sir.
Okay. Thanks. Okay.
You want to say the emotion, sir, now?
Just these are some of the use cases. Even there are n number of VR apps are getting generated, like Smiley kids playing apps are there, which basically works on the kind of emotions, how they try to generate a smile. Face biometric model, and it says that the person is Morgan. Though the person is not in front of the camera, and I'm assuming that I have a mobile phone of my colleague. Okay, I got this photo or some video from the Facebook or Twitter or some social media, and I can easily unlock his phone. So actually, I've done my PhD on the liveliness detection of face liveliness detection. Detections, and then we are trying to say whether the person is live or no, he is a fake. So before we identify the person is known or unknown, we should basically categorize one live or I'll show you a simple example. Before we authenticate whether the person is X or Y, and we should categorize whether he is a live or whether it's a fake. So in this case, if you look at here, I have trained a model. The model I have trained here, which has the two categories. One is the fake faces, which I have captured from a mobile phone. These are the live images which I have captured from the web camera. So I have trained a model here. So basically, this model will now categorize whether the person face is no fake or whether it is live. So if you before we identify the face recognition, basically we have to keep a steps called whether it's a fake images or whether it's a live. Then we have to go for an identification person. So I have another two more demo. Six. So this is a particularly use cases where the number of persons are trying to get the persons we are trying to get which are entering inside, and we are also tracking the unit they are entering inside, whether they are going in or whether they are out. We are also trying to compute the orientation in which directions people are moving, and we are also counting the unique number of people which they are. So these are some of the use cases which will help in detecting the number of vehicles inside, or it may be a person, or it may be some truck. So we can use these particular use cases for n number of applications basically. Other use cases we want to show the live one. So this is a use case where I have trained my model to categorize between the whether the person is wearing a face mask or not. So it says that I'm not wearing a face mask. So if you wear something with the kerchief or something with the so it says that the person is wearing a mask. So these are the live. So all the things whatever I have shown here, which are already trained with the n number of sample data with the structured data, and then the one which I'm showing it is the test data, or the predictions, or the deployment phase. Based on the trained model, it tried to categorize whether it's no person is wearing a mask, whether it's a person is X or Y, or what emotion it belongs to, whether it's a person. We are also trying to count the unique number of peoples. So there are different use cases what we are trying to solve. And I'm coming back to the there is a platform, especially with the Google Colab platforms. If you are from the academia, if you don't have a GPU laptop or a GPU machine or a servers to train the machine learning or deep learning models, which they have given a free platforms, free GPU computing on this hour particular environment, which is a pre-installed, where you can try all the softwares are pre-installed and also configured one. And the only problem is that your data has to be moved to the platform and to and then you have to train a models, and then once you train a model, you can download it. Once you close the session, you will not be able to basically get any data. The session will be lost. Your data is also lost. So this is the Google Colab platforms. So basically, you have to store your data and go to the GitHub. or a Google Drive. So basically, what I did, most of the projects for the training, I have written a Git repository which has the n number of repositories. If you look at here, there are n number of repositories are there in my Git. All the repositories you can run through the Google Colab. So this is my Git ID. Mohan Raj MIT is my Git ID. So which has the n number of use cases and applications. So you can clone this Git repo to the Colab and you can run all the some of the projects which are available in my Git. And coming back to the, I have some of the detail of, because I have not explained the detail of what is CNN, what is deep learning and those steps and neural networks and know how do you run the script in the Colab. So I have uploaded a video in my YouTube channel. Probably you can go to my channel and you can have the series of lectures are already available in my Git, which talks about how to work on the Google Colab and what is the CNN neural networks. There are much more informations are available in my YouTube channel. Probably you can go through it. That's all from my side. Probably I can spend some 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes for the QA.
Sir. Sir, is it okay? Sir, you go for this, sir.
Yes, please. 1 second.
Okay.
Sir, we will read out the question, sir.
So I'll give you the link of my. Okay.
We read out the
I'm
question.
posting my Git repository. 1 second. I'm posting the Git URL, and so I've posted the Git URL. Also, I'm posting my YouTube channel video as well. Yeah, please go ahead, man.
Thanks for the wonderful session, sir. It was very
Makadevan sir, SAR screen is not visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
It's not
posted the
visible,
queries
No, I
now.
have stopped sharing, man.
You,
I have stopped
sir, if
sharing
you,
it.
you put the link, no, sir, that is not visible. You make yourself presenter and
No, I
post
have-
the link, your URL, your YouTube link, everything.
Yes, now
Make
it's
already
yourself presenter and do
there
that.
it's already it is available in the chat window.
Okay, chat window available. Okay, sir.
And
Shall we proceed with the
there are
questionnaire, sir, now?
the industry conferences. 1 second. There are some of the industrial conferences are there with respect to AI and machine learning. So probably you can go and subscribe those channels. One is the conference engine. This is one of the AI conferences which happens every year. It's the topmost conferences, and there is one more Analytics India magazine. So these are the conferences. Knowledge transfer things will happen. So there are n number of talks are there with respect to machine learning. Purely it's the industrial conference. So most of the the top data scientists who will talk in that conference, and where if not possible you can virtually at least listen all these things basically. That's all from my side. I think probably I can spend few minutes.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Thanks for the wonderful session, sir. It was very informative and insightful. Now we have to come to question and answer session. Many participants are posting their questions in chat box. I will hand it over to Mrs. Hall Uma Gowri, Assistant Professor, Department of ECE. Over to you, ma'am.
Somebody had asked about a platform for the deep learning. Google Colab platform. Let me post it.
Dr. Mohan, sir, we will read out the question. You can post it and present yourself. Mr. Praveen
Yes, ma'am.
Akhtar has
Yes, ma'am.
asked a question. Can you please say something about random forest algorithm?
So it is basically an ensemble of machine learning technique. Basically, random forest is an constructing of multiple decision tree. So it is an ensemble learning, what we say. But most of the scenario right now we are less using machine learning approaches instead of we go with the deep learning approaches. So it's an ensemble learning where we say basically multiple trees will be there and the data goes into the multiple tree and the results of all the trees will get no concatenated based on the voting mechanism or averaging, and then the machine tries to predict what belongs to the particular category. So it's basically where it gives a better accuracy than the simple model. But in case of here, we go with the ensemble learning.
Okay, sir. The same person
You
asked
can go
for
ahead with
two
the
more
next one.
questions. Uh,
Yeah,
same
ma'am.
person has asked the same another question. What is false alarm rate? And third question is, if you have to check for distance, then which of them can be used for?
See, there are different techniques are available for the distance calculation. One is an Euclidean distance, Mahalanobis distance, Manhattan's distance. Most frequently used techniques are basically an Euclidean distance, and Kn and K means both are they are trying to use Euclidean distance basically. But inbuilt with there is a library called scikit-learn, especially for the machine learning approaches. What we use to train the model, it is inbuilt. It uses the Euclidean distance. If you wanted to change, probably you can customize your own distance metrics. Hello, is that my voice audible? I don't know.
Ah,
This is audible.
yeah, voice is audible, sir.
Okay.
Hello, the next question is from Miss Uma. Which algorithm is best for face recognition?
See, there is a FaceNet. There is a deep learning architecture is available, which is called FaceNet. Basically, which is a topmost almost about 90 to 95% are available for both face detection and recognition. Both deep learning algorithms are available. Probably I'll post. There is a separate library which is available for the face recognition. I'm posting it in the chat where you can follow about face recognition library for the deep learning especially. There is no best method, but there are lots of deep learning architectures are available where you have to benchmark with respect to precision and recall and F1 score. These are the performance metrics, and there is a confusion matrix. You have to calculate true positive, and false negative, and benchmark your model, and then with the different state of the art techniques and come up with which one has the best results.
Okay, sir. The third person has asked a question from Pratipa Varkish. Please explain driver drowsiness detection.
See, basically, it is a drowsiness detections where I'm trying to first detect the face. Once you detect the face, and then we are trying to identify the facial landmark points, which we are categorizing as eyes, nose, and mouth. And out of all the facial components, which are majorly important to classify the drowsiness, are the eye points where we are trying to basically have a 6 points. There is horizontal points and the vertical points, and calculate
Papa.
the distance. There is a mathematical equations I have pointed out, and then you calculate the ER value. Usually, if the eye gets closest, the aspect ratio value will be closer to 0. If the eye gets open, the aspect ratio value will be. So I have to move my office.
and you can send it back to us, sir. Thank you, Dr. Mohan
Yeah,
Raj.
yeah, thank you.
Now you can leave, sir.
One more
We
point,
can talk
last
to the
point. I
Yeah,
have
tell-
in my Git all the PPTs and post in my Git.
We'll retrieve the
Thank
data,
you.
Dr. Mohan Raj. The participants can fill up the feedback link, submit it with all the details, and you can leave the meeting. Thank you for the patient listening, and bear with us for the technical snack for a short while. Thank you.
Dear participants, there is an announcement regarding our next webinar. Over to Indu, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Dear participants, we are conducting one more webinar on Android Insights on 18th June 2020. That is tomorrow. The registration link for tomorrow's webinar will be posted in GoToMeeting and YouTube chat box. Kindly fill the registration link and join our WhatsApp group for further updates. We welcome you all to register, participate, and make the program a grand success one. Dear participants, the feedback link has been posted in chat box. Kindly fill the feedback link with a registered mail ID. You will receive your e-certificates within 2 or 3 days. Participants are requested to fill the feedback form with the correct mail ID. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. All the participants kindly fill the feedback form and you can leave the meeting. You will receive this certificate within 2 days. Thank you all. All the participants kindly fill the feedback form and you can leave the meeting. You will receive this certificate within 2 days. Thank you all.